President Macron and Prime Minister Starmer are hot-footing over to America this week to meet with Donald Trump and JD Vance. What's on the agenda? Definitely Ukraine, definitely the economy, and definitely some other stuff. So let's get right into it right now. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So thank you ever so much for tuning in. We're going to cover what those meetings and the agendas might look like in lieu of last week's European call-in and meeting post JD Vance's Munich conference, security conference speech, which outlined the fact that they feel that Europe needs to take care of its own defences rather than relying on the USA, and also allowed the USA the freedom and the time to get involved with complex global problems. So what that means basically across NATO, which is a lot of the European countries, they are required to spend an X amount of GDP per year to fund towards defence spending. So at the moment, the UK spends 2.3% of its GDP, which GDP is the amount of money as a country we take through taxes and through investments per year. So Keir Starmer is likely in the meeting with Trump to confirm that he will increase it to 2.5%, but the time frame for that has not yet been agreed. So, however, what we're looking at here is we've got the first dignitary visits over to the USA. This is normal. This is what all international leaders will start to travel to him, or he'll be popping by when he's on the way around the world doing some global diplomacy. And the idea is to welcome him to the global stage. Obviously, he's no stranger, so he'll be looking to get straight to the point with these gentlemen and cut the deal. Now, a lot of people are getting scared and worried about tariffs, but we'll come to tariffs in a moment, so stay tuned, we'll come to that. But in the interim, we should really discuss about the Ukraine. So it's widely rumoured that Macron will go over to the USA, President Trump, that their interests are the same. America's and Europe's interests are the same. That if you let Russia take Ukraine, then they would be unstoppable. Now, France wants to warn Trump that he might appear weak towards Putin. I think that's exactly the wrong person you want to be going up to and saying, here, pal, I think you look a bit weak and not respected. Because I'm sure only a week or 2 weeks ago, actually it was a week ago, I can't remember. So much going on right now in the world of politics and news. But anyway, he turned around and said that America is once again respected. So he's not actually going to take any flannel from no Macron, especially not half pint at that. So the USA are going to argue back with Macron and Starmer as well, but definitely Macron, because at the moment France only put in 2% of GDP for defence spending, i.e. NATO, which the UK does 2.3 and will increase to 2.5. We already have our own in-house budget, if you like, for spending on our forces. So it's racking up a bit now. Anyway, what America will say to the UK, France, Europe on the wider stage is that, look, to be honest with you, this war has been going tomorrow for 3 years exactly, the 24th of February 2022. And you've done nothing to stop it. Biden, God knows where he was. He was asleep at the wheel somewhere on some barge canal trip in the West Midlands. I don't know. But he's been AWOL, missing in action. God knows who's been running the Americans while he was in power. I'm just saying what I see from the outside looking in, by the way. It's nothing, we got our own problems here right now to deal with, I can assure you. So anyway, getting back on point. So America will say, you haven't done anything to stop this. And then he's totally right. Europe will turn around and say, look, we can stop this, but what we need to do is we need your backing to put boots on the ground in a preventative, to quote, a reassurance force. which basically is a deterrent for Russia to attack the Ukraine following a peace deal, a lasting peace deal. Otherwise, it would be attacking NATO. Now, this is a very, and I covered it on my last video, this is a very scary strategy indeed, because one stray bullet, right, take for instance, the Russians are over there, about a mile away, in a camp, eating their food. Everyone's got like a peace line, a peace deal, it's all good, but both sides have their troops right on the front line, just in case something flares up. They've got strength to go at it. So they're sitting around over there. You've got the UK troops or French troops or whoever troops sitting here, minding their own business. One of those guys, accidentally has a negligent discharge with his rifle or something like that, fires a bullet and it shoots someone over here. Then there's war. There's war. And it's as easy as that it can kick off and escalate and happen. So no, I don't think, and I said straight out in my last video, I think that before Starmer puts any of our children on the floor, the boots on the ground, the boys, the girls, the strength that we have in our military services, thank you for your service, I think strongly that he should think that if he deploys, then one of his sons or daughters should go to the front row with 3 power or 4 rifles or whichever front row. So there you go, that's just what I think about that. So Europeans want to put boots on the ground because they know that's going to kick off and that's going to keep the bank rolling, the profitability, the tax, the money. That's what it's about, money and power. It's not about stopping Russia. It's not about supporting Ukraine. Who's got the contracts that makes the weaponry? Think about that. Okay, someone in the comments, leave me a comment, try and help me make sense of this. Why would the Europeans want to stop the war when they make so much tax revenue from awarding military contracts to companies that they have vested shares in that make the weaponry? If they increase the amount of weaponry they need from these companies, the companies float more money and the dividends become a bigger payout. Is it just me that thinks like that, or could that actually be a thing? I know that, and I hate to say it, I know that there's been some issues in Congress over people having trading positions in companies and all of that business. But look, that's for another day. Ultimately, we don't know what's going to happen this week because we're not in the room. We can only go by different outlets to cross-reference the news. Don't believe just one outlet. Don't just believe me. I always read a widespread or watch a widespread of things just to make sure that I'm getting an accumulatively, relatively accurate set of details. Of course, I might be wrong, and if I've been wrong on anything, leave me a comment, let me know. I can take it, and I can improve for the next time. So we are going to make mistakes, but on the whole, I'll correct those. And I really appreciate you all for tuning in to the channel again. It means a lot to me. So on that note, I'll say good night. It's Pete from MV UK.